Mahi rhythm. That's it.
I'm known as Sephardic folk singer all through America and Europe too. And I receive a lot of letters with bits and pieces of lyrics that other Sephardic people had. What ties us together is this stories. I'm just trying to carry on the same culture, the same pain, the same love, and the same holiday that we all share together.
Saltamos para llamar noche de Hanukkah. Dia graciamos para llamar noche de Hanukkah. Para acender las candelicas con toda la mishpacha. Las Hanukkiyas de sirma blanca, muscale a limpiar.
Flory Jagoda is an American singer, composer, poet, and storyteller who owes much to her Bosnian Sephardic origins. Her music is steeped in the culture that the Sephardic Jews took with them when they were expelled from the Iberian Peninsula in 1492. The Judeo-Spanish language, the legends and customs of her ancestors, memories of a homeland, lost but still remembered. All these permeate her work. Vibrant with the idiom of Bosnian Sephardic culture, her music has found new expression in an American Jewish context.
You know, there is a very beautiful legend that lived in Sephardic homes for generations. The legend, the story of the key from Spain. We call it La Llave de España. The legend tells us when our ancestors left Cordoba, Toledo, all the cities where they lived, they took their keys from their homes and also keys from their synagogues, hoping to return one day. We know that they did not return, but the keys were on their walls anywhere they lived. To me, the only meaning actually of the key is to continue, to go on. And it's the same as the songs that I write and perform, to continue this tradition through music.
¿Dónde está la llave que estaba en cachón? ¿Dónde está la llave que estaba en cachón? Mis nonos se la trujeron con grande dolor. De su casa de España, de España, de su casa de España, de España. Sueños de España, sueños de España.
The Sephardim were well treated in Bosnia and other parts of the Ottoman Empire. They enjoyed freedom of worship, could choose where they wanted to live and what professions to follow. Many of them setting up businesses as craftsmen and merchants.
We lived in a very close-knit Sephardic family that came to Vlasenica about 18th century. They came from Sarajevo, which had a large Sephardic community. And before Sarajevo, Turkey, Greece, and way back 5 centuries ago, Spain. They all had Sephardic Bosnian Jewish communities. It was a Serb and a Croat and a Muslim and a Bosnian Jew living together very peacefully. Vlasenica had 41 members of Alterac's family, which was my family. They were very proud of this name, Altaraca, the high race. And they all were merchants, having small stores. Upstairs the family lived, and downstairs was the business. My Nona, my grandmother, as I call her, Nona, was a very well-known woman in Vlasenica. She was a midwife, she knew herbs. She spoke to us only in Judeo, as we called it, Judeo-Spanish. It is known to people as Ladino. Sometimes I would come home and I would sort of complain, Nona, I mean, these friends of mine, they do not understand, they might think we're talking about them. She says, sos Judea? Kal je vlarin Judeo? If you are Jewish, you have to speak Jewish. She considered this language, which is really a 15th century Castilian, she considered this as her religious language.
Ella se siente la jalemenara. Ella se siente la jalemenara. Con aceite de oliva clara y áspera, con aceite de oliva clara y áspera.
She was a great singer, very, very beautiful, silk voice, and had 4 daughters and 3 sons. They all were singers. They were called the Alterac singing family. My mother was also part of this group, but she rebelled. She was romantic, she was dreaming about faraway places. She just couldn't take this easygoing daily life in Vlasenica where nothing ever happened, and finally talked my nonu, the grandfather, to let her go to the big city, which was Sarajevo. The Sarajevo was called Chico Jerusalem, the small Jerusalem, known for its synagogues, rabbinical schools. And my mother fell in love with this musician, Samuel Papo. Family was very against it because he was a professional musician. Sephardic families looked for somebody who would make decent living, not playing music for money. But she married Samuel Papo, and after a year she realized this was no life because of Samuel Papo. Played all night and slept all day. So my grandfather came to Sarajevo and took her home with his little new granddaughter, Flory, that's me. She brought shame to Vlasenica. This was a first divorced incident in a family, divorce in a Sephardic family, was something that you never heard about. Andele tu, mi andele tu, mi querido, enamorado, ay, mi querido, enamorado. Más te quiero y más te amo que iré con su renato, ay, que iré con su renato. So my nonno went to work to find a husband for Rosa. There was a man called Mihail Kabiljo who was a traveling salesman. She happened to like him, and the marriage was planned. They were to go to Zagreb, the big city of Zagreb. She always wanted to live in a big city. And I was to stay with my nonna in Vlasenica, which I loved because I just loved my nonna.
In the period between the two world wars, Sephardic Jews in Bosnia were faced with new challenges. Those who wanted to improve the quality of their lives moved to the larger cities in what was then Yugoslavia. There they assimilated easily into Western culture and adopted many elements of Reformed Ashkenazi Judaism. The conservative Sephardim preferred to remain in the provincial towns of Bosnia or in older areas of Sarajevo, where they clung to their Orthodox Judaism and traditional Bosnian Sephardic culture.
But a year has passed by, and my nonno bought himself a modern hat, and we were off to Zagreb. When I saw Rosa, my mother, I couldn't believe. I mean, this was a very modern woman. She did not have a kosher home. We never heard a word of Judeo-Spanish. She had accepted completely the Ashkenazi Western Judaism, which was very modern. And I remember that she never returned back to Vlasenica. Now, Mihail Kabiljo took me a little time to really get to know him. In fact, at the beginning, I didn't even like him. Till one day, I'm coming out of school, and there is Mihail Kabiljo standing, waiting for me. He says, Florica, we are going to a music store. And we went to the music store, and there are a lot of harmonicas. We called an accordion a harmonica. He said to me, Florica, just pick any one you like. And I picked this little white Hohner 24 bass. That made my day. In fact, I fell in love with Mihail Kabiljo. So I picked up the harmonica out of the box and I started picking up notes. My mother says, Florica, no, you are going to have music lessons. You're not going to play the way our family played in Vlasenica. And she did. She arranged lessons with Ida Strasberg, a charming young girl in Zagreb. I adored her. She gave me what I was hungry for, music. We're talking now about 1941, which you could feel things happening. The Germany was occupying a country after country, and in April 41 they occupied Zagreb. The worst that I can remember was the day when we all had to wear the badges on our chests. It just changed the whole life. And with my badge on my shoulder, I am going to Ida lesson. So I knock on the door, she opens the door, she sees my badge, and she freezes. She says, Florica, I can't teach you anymore. Don't come back. That was very hard, because I really wanted to have these lessons.
Tu madre cuando te parió y te quitó el mundo, corazón ella no te dio para amar segundo. Corazón ella no te dio para amar segundo. Adiós, adiós querida, no quiero la vida, me la amargaste tú. Adiós, adiós querida, no quiero la vida, me la amargaste tú.
I come home and I hear my father telling my mother, we have to get out of Zagreb. We have to leave. And I have a friend in Split, and I have already called him, please send us some tickets for train with non-Jewish names. What do I take with me? The first thing, what do I take with me? Definitely my harmonica. And the pictures that my nonna gave me. My father said to me, Florica, nemoj govoriti ni jednu riječ. Samo sviraj harmoniku. Don't say one word. Just play your accordion. And there I was in the compartment of the train. And the compartment filled up with people. Everybody sat next to me. And we had a party. Everybody started singing. The conductor came in. He didn't even ask me for my ticket. And I arrived in Split thanks to this little girl. There were refugees coming from all over the place, all coming to Split. Naturally, the city had to do something. Or we send them to concentration camp to Germany, or we will send them to the islands. And that's what they did, thank God. So we find ourselves on the list. Our names were that we were going to go to island of Korčula. My life on the island was music. I was a harmonica teacher. My students were the daughter of the butcher and the daughter of the baker and the daughter of a man who had a store. So I had plenty of olive oil and I had bread. We were rich. We had food. It was wonderful. A horrible news reached the island that the Germans were retrieving, going up north and coming through the island. Everybody was running around, see what are we going to do. In the evening, all the little groups were on the port looking if they could get some kind of a boat to leave the island. We hired 2 tugboats. We called it the Trabacola. And we started a new trip toward Italy. You Well, we were very, very lucky because the ones who did not leave were really sent to concentration camps. The thing to do then was to see if we can get a job with American Army who were in Bari. And definitely I found a job as a typist. Never typed in my life. One day this very, very handsome soldier comes in and I look at him, he looks at me, and there was great connection there. He comes to the house and it was Rosh Hashanah, a New Year. And he looks on the table and he sees Mahzor, the prayer book. He was stunned. He says, "You're Jews?" Well, sure we're Jews. Well, the next great connection came to life, and naturally, after not too long, couple months, we were engaged to be married.
¿Quién es esto en la ventana que me ha mostrado tanto amor? ¿O sono las estrellas de la mañana? ¿O son los ojos de mi amor?
And we had a beautiful American wedding. My gown was made out of parachute, and it was a dream come true wedding.
Si mi corazón ventana tenía de poder adentro mirar campos y viñas se despertaban tanta
And here we are, 50 years later. But the leaving of Bari, Italy, is very hard, because a day before I left, my mother received a letter that her whole family in Vlasenica, all the Altaraces, were killed. I wish my children would have met Rosa, the grandmother, the way she was full of spark, full of excitement. She arrived as a broken bird. I mean, she was alive, she was very dead inside. She would say my harmonia died, and she never wanted to sing a Ladino song after that.
The prominent Jewish community in Bosnia numbered approximately 12,000 people prior to World War II. Over the course of the war, this once flourishing community was reduced to a mere 1,000 persons, concentrated mainly in Sarajevo. Under the post-war communist regime, Bosnian Jews felt the loss of freedom to practice their religion or express their cultural identity, and the Sephardic culture came under the threat of extinction.
I left Europe many, many years ago. I came here right after the Second World War. Later on, as all the survivors always tell you,
You get that overwhelming need in you to find out what happened to this family that I loved so much. So after 43 years, I told my husband that we should go back for me to find out what happened.
I found a silent city. Nobody could remember anything. We went to one neighbor, another neighbor. Ma gospođo, ja se sećam, ali ne znam šta je bilo s njima, in Serbo-Croatian. Lady, I remember them, but I just don't know what happened to them. And when we came to this farm, we met the farmer and his wife. And we started going down a hill and went over one fence, over near the fence, down to the valley. And we stopped in one of the spots, and the farmer says, 1956, I bought this piece of land. And we had a very raining 3-4 days that the whole valley was full of water. And I see my dogs, pigs, in their mouth carrying human bones. And I ran down to see, and that whole water brought up the bones and corpses of people. And the farmer says to me, this is where your family is. They brought them all up, they beat them to death, and they threw them in the whole mass grave, which unfortunately we read about this today too.
So I returned home and I wrote this song, Todos se fueron. They are all gone. Las calles son vacías, las casas son sin alegrías, las ventanas son sin rosas, caranfiles, conchas hermosas. Las puertas son sin enamorados, no hay más nonas con tu canto. Y las mujeres con las cunas que cantaban a las criaturas donde se fueron. Donde se fueron, donde se fueron. Todos se fueron.
My parents, both of them, were young and they were very old. They have never accepted their new life. They lived with the past. What is interesting is that they spoke only Judeo-Spanish. The language that she wanted to abandon, the language that she wanted to get away from, it came right back. After her death, I started performing Sephardic songs. I was called by Jewish Community Center, actually it was one of the first in 76 or something. Do I know a Sephardic song? Do I know a Sephardic song? Once one came out, they just started pouring out. And since then, I have been performing only Sephardic songs and also writing about my family.
Something like that. Yeah. It wouldn't be bad to have a drum in this.
I'll play the drum.
Okay.
I would like that.
It's a Sarajevo music. They didn't have a drum? Have drum like that?
Well, no, but we're trying to
get a little more body. Okay.
Yeah.
My Nona sang with her children. I sing with my children. I know the harmony is different. My son, Elliot, would usually add a different kind of harmony that Rosa, my mother, would like to hear. But this is just, I think, the beauty of it, that we go on with the songs, and even the new sound and the new harmony adds a new, fresh feeling to the old that the song represents.
I'll let you finish alone.
The recent war in Bosnia created a new need for Flory songs. Despite their marginal position in Bosnian culture, her Sephardic songs raised an awareness of Bosnia and the Bosnian plight. Drawing on her experience of the Jewish persecution under Nazism, Flory conveyed a scathing message of Bosnian suffering that could not be ignored.
We had a very talented poet by name Isak Papo in Sarajevo, and he sent to me a book. Actually, this is the last book written in Ladino from Sarajevo, since, unfortunately, this whole heritage and tradition is sort of more or less lost. He is writing with pain about his Sarajevo being destroyed. He writes about his city where he was born. He also writes about his warm memories of Spain. Estremecido miro el televisor, destruyéndose está mi Sarajevo. Nunca pensaba que podía ser verdad. Tanta inhumanidad y terrible crueldad. Lo que se pasa hacen sus ciudadanos. Ayer amigos y nuestros vecinos. La cruel política todo derroca. Enteramente la gente troca. Ángeles divinos, onde vos topas agora? En esta sincero dicho la mala hora. La mala hora, la Lama la ora, lama la ora, lama la ora.
In my concert musical experience that I could look back, 2 concerts were full of emotion more than any others, and one is when we went back to the city where I was born, Sarajevo. The audience was unbelievable. The audience sang and cried. They all came to see this American lady who is going to come to sing with her children the songs that she took from the city she was born, took them to America and brought them back. The other concert was naturally Spain, and the most touchy experience was that the audience, especially women, stayed in the line to give me a hug and a kiss. These women asked for forgiveness for what their ancestors did to my ancestors. I didn't know what to do with it. I mean, I came to sing, but this was something that I did not expect.
Sephardic music has a long tradition of absorbing the influences of new lands and new cultures. Flory Jagoda is the embodiment of that tradition. Her songs are multi-layered in style, a synthesis of Bosnian Muslim lyrics, sevdalnikas, Balkan rhythms, and the melodies of Spanish romanciero, underscored by her own Sephardic cultural idiom. She is the keeper of the flame, ensuring the continuation of the Sephardic heritage and its place in Jewish culture.
Let me wish you buona semana, a good week. We're starting a new week. Definitely with salute, buona vida, health, and good life. This beautiful and very meaningful to me building brings us for many reasons. One of the main reasons is to remember. The survivor comes here to share their stories, the stories of the sad past, also to celebrate the survival and continuity, life itself.
Hanukkah linda está aquí, 8 candelas para mí. Hanukkah linda está aquí, 8 candelas para mí. Oh, una candelica, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí. Los pastelicos voy a comer con almendricas y la miel. Los pastelicos voy a comer con almendricas y la miel. Oh, una candelica, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí. 8 candelas para mí. 8 candelas para mí. Thank you.